Welcome to another edition of the MMK Show. Now, AI is everywhere, and AI is changing the way that we're doing e-commerce and Amazon FBA. And on today's MMK Show, we're going to be talking to Aaron Hughes, who's got a fancy new tool that he's recently launched that is powered by AI, and it will change the way that you do listings across marketplaces, across different channels. Marg and Kevin, how are you guys doing today?
Very well.
Excellent. Thank you, Magla.
We were just live yesterday, not even 12 hours ago. And then here we are again.
And it was a similar AI discussion, but a different story.
Yeah. Exactly. That was AI too. Cool. So just real quick, before we invite Aaron, quick reminder that our Vietnam sourcing trip is coming up very, very soon in just a couple of weeks. We are going to be talking about... we are going to be going to Vietnam on April 22nd. And this is a 5-day trip that we're doing in Ho Chi Minh City, where you can visit factories, you can learn all about sourcing in Vietnam, and you can also visit a trade show, an export-focused trade show that is being organized by Global Sources. So check out VietnamSourcingTrip.com, and we look forward to seeing you there. You know, with whatever's happening in around the world in supply chain, I think it's just so important nowadays to diversify your sourcing just so that you're not putting all your eggs in one basket. And Kevin, earlier before we got on the call, you were talking about Mr. Trump, right? What might happen in case he comes into power?
Well, I don't even want to think, Megla.
Don't talk about
it. Yeah, I mean, he's already said.
Politics and business. Yeah, I know he already said. But I mean, I'm just, yeah.
No, but it could make a bit of difference. I mean, if he does put in his tariff, I think people will be looking to diversify, and they will be looking at alternates. And Vietnam is probably in the middle between India and China, as in products and things. I think you can, find some really great products. If you've been sourcing from China, moving to Vietnam would not be that difficult.
And the other thing is, we're going to have a booth at the trade fair. So if any of you is actually in Ho Chi Minh, on business or at the fair, I mean, come on by and sort of have a chat together. We can talk about anything you like in regards to, the products, tariffs. We can even talk about Mr. Trump, but whatever you want to talk about. And I'm sure, if you sort of come by, the girls will have some sort of Vietnamese samples or product samples that
I thought you were going to say some spring rolls, Kev, my favourite.
That's what I was thinking too. I thought you were going to say food. Yes, the food is awesome. Exactly. And in terms of product categories, Vietnam does a lot of different types of products. You've got a lot of bags, backpacks, for example, very high quality, and then luggage, a lot of rattan, seagrass kind of products, beautiful design, handcrafted products. And then we've also got things like wooden toys and ceramics and marble and apparel, sportswear, swimwear. There's just a huge variety of products that are available. Also footwear. That's one of the biggest export categories, in fact, from Vietnam.
Yeah.
Cool. So check out VietnamSourcingTrip.com, and we look forward to seeing you there. So let's get on with the show. I'm going to invite Aaron on screen. Hi, Aaron. Very good morning to you. How are you doing?
Great. Always a pleasure to be here with you guys. Thanks for having me on.
Great
to see you. Nice to see you again, Aaron. And I see you found a really good backdrop there because, living in the cupboard.
Yeah, it's 6:30 in the morning here in India, so I'm in the closet, to try to make sure that I can get a quiet space here.
Cool, awesome. So we're really excited to hear about List Butler. But first, why don't you do a quick intro, or you have an intro slide, right, on your slides. So let's just go ahead, share your screen. Let's get right into it. And Aaron is also going to be doing a demo, so he has some slides to share talking about this new tool. And then we're also going to do a live demo of List Butler. So share your screen, and then I'll put it up on the screen here.
All right. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. All right.
Okay,
Over to you.
so yeah, and feel free to interrupt me. I hope this can be more conversational, but just want to share some information about what we're building and how it can help your brand. And a little bit of background about myself is, I am a brand owner. So List Butler was essentially born out of a need for myself. I'm a one-man, 7-figure brand. I do have a team behind me in terms of my agency, but the idea of, putting your content on different marketplaces became a little overwhelming. I already have enough, products on Amazon. How am I going to manage, a different marketplace? And so that's really the origin story of List Butler. I've been living overseas for 9 or 10 years now. I came in 2014 to India, and like I said, I have a few brands that I do kind of as a 7-year side hustle. And then we also started an agency 4.5 years ago. We have about 80 employees, from graphic designers to content writers, account managers, the whole 9 yards. We're pretty much full service. And then, List Butler is one of the newest things, and all of these, businesses are very synergistic. So, List Butler has become the tech stack for our agency, and my brands are clients of the agency. So it all flows together. And this is my family down here, my wife and 2 daughters. We live in Hyderabad, India. So we're kind of, I guess, atypical from the typical Amazon agency these days. We're not remote for the most part. We're all in person. It's just the working style that I prefer. Businesses are very. So the reason List Butler was born was I saw, and I actually personally experienced, a lot of times when we were expanding to different marketplaces like Walmart, the kind of common practice that I saw was people were just copy pasting their Amazon listing to Walmart. And that actually hurts your SEO in a major way on these different platforms, because they all have their own way of doing things, even when it comes to images. And so copy pasting wasn't a great formula, but it was, for most people, the only realistic formula, right? Because a lot of these other softwares that do this type of service are built for enterprise brands, and so they're very expensive, and they're not honestly. I've looked at a lot of them and just didn't make sense for my brand. The other aspect of List Butler was just the idea of keeping everything in one place. I don't know if you guys have ever had to download files, share them to other people, upload them to different places, delete the files, all that kind of stuff. So really, this software is meant to store everything in one place and be a command center for your brand, as well as help you with engaging SEO that's made for each marketplace. Because the reality is, a lot of people listening to this are probably Amazon native sellers. So it's not realistic for you to be a master of Etsy SEO and Shopify SEO and eBay SEO. And so AI is really one of the best ways to do that, and building good prompts that generate your listing in such a format. So even this is, terminology a year ago I didn't even know, but just the idea of a PIM-DAM, a product information management system, and a data asset management system. So basically, a PIM system collects your information, stores it all, and allows you to publicate that to different marketplaces. So your attributes, your product information, and it stores it in a single place. And data asset management, as you can probably tell, is just storing all of your creative information. So I'm sure most of you probably have Google Drive folders of all your different products and images and videos. Then you have to go re-download that to upload that to a platform, etc. And like I said, most solutions out there are typically built for large enterprises. So we're talking $10,000 to $20,000 a year to get on some of these other solutions that help you syndicate to different platforms. So I'm going to demo this in a second, but just wanted to give a few use cases of the tool aside from the PIM-DAM aspect of it. The other thing that our tool is going to do, and the idea is kind of your AI co-pilot for e-commerce. So our chatbot Winston here, your friendly AI butler, is trained on a knowledge base for each platform that we connect to. And so you can actually ask Winston for just about anything under the sun related to these platforms. So If you have a question on, what are the difference between images on Walmart and Amazon, this is a screenshot of that. You can do that. You can actually even ask it for keyword suggestions. So, we're not trying to become the next Helium 10 or anything. We're not trying to be a keyword research tool, but you can use its knowledge base to gather trending keywords for various products as well. And again, based on the prompt, you can get different results, but it's relatively easy to use. You don't need anything complicated to get that type of information. And the other thing that you can do is generate images. And I'm going to show you in a second our product roadmap. We've got a lot of tools and features that are yet to be released, and so we're super excited about a lot of those. But at the very base level, you can do these functions as of now. And generate images, and you can edit the images in our app. So this is one of the live demos I'll show you when I share my screen here in a second. But this is just an idea to give you an idea that this is one of my products. And so I created a Canada, Mexico, Japan, and Walmart US listing, like literally in under 10 minutes. And that's kind of the cool thing, is your data is stored up here in terms of your features. And honestly, you could add a lot more to these features to give a better output, but I just put some basic information, and then I copy pasted my keywords for my keyword research that I wanted to be embedded in the listing. And then from there, you just create each marketplace, and it will support different languages, and the way the Walmart SEO is different than the Amazon SEO. So it just gives you an idea of how you could expand your brand in not a lot of time. In terms of getting these listings set up and getting them, optimized for each platform. And then the other perk of what we're trying to do is to not just be a DIY SaaS product. So we have that option for brands who, already have solutions for these services here. But part of List Butler will be integrated with our existing agency. Because the reality is that no matter how easy, and I'm sure, Megla, you guys can understand this too. It's like, no matter how easy you make it for someone, the reality is you guys are business owners and you're busy. And so we have a lot of clients that use List Butler currently who are paying for the done for you service. They like the tool, they like the ease of it, but they still need someone at the end of the day to kind of prompt engineer and create these different assets. And no matter how good AI is even today, as far as graphic design, there still needs to be tweaks made by a person, whether it's in simple tools like Canva or Photoshop. And then whether you have issues on the back end of Amazon, whether content gets published, if there's an error in the listing, we have Seller Central VAs who can go in and troubleshoot those things as well. So those are all things that can be integrated through List Butler, so you can have the option to do DIY or done for you to suit your needs. And it's super flexible, like in terms of starting with a part-time person. So that's what a lot of our our very first customers have started with, and so we're helping them build out their PIM-DAM List Butler setup. And then I did want to briefly talk about our roadmap before I share the tool. So these are the things that we're, either currently building now that hasn't been released, or that's on our roadmap. And the other thing that's going to be really interesting in terms of the SEO is creating different prompts for different purposes. So, Rufus AI is a hot topic that's popped up in terms of how Amazon is, navigating search for customers. Some people are even calling, the end of keyword SEO. I don't know if I would necessarily go there yet, but we're going to be able to toggle in where you can choose what type of prompt and output you want. If you want a Rufus AI friendly SEO versus a keyword prompt, we're going to build in these different layers. And so you have kind of customization options for the purpose and also the marketplace. And then as far as the API goes, our Amazon and our Walmart APIs are live and working. But more marketplaces will be released. So, not in necessarily order of importance. Etsy will be the next one, eBay, Shopify, Faire. We've got a few clients who need some kind of more niche marketplaces, like Michaels.com and Wayfair and different places. So we'll also be building those out. And then the other big one for me is the sales dashboard. So there are kind of a few examples out there of what this is, but my problem as a brand owner is I don't want to have a software, membership to like 10 softwares to do what I want. And so the idea of List Butler is we're going to pull in from the connected marketplaces your total, your key metrics, your top line sales, your ad spend, etc. We're not trying to be, a super in-depth reporting tool, but just a simple tool because the first thing I do when I wake up is I check my Amazon seller app, but it really only gives you one picture of, your business. And one of the big things that's changed in my business since implementing this marketplace syndication is I have 25% of my revenue coming from different non-Amazon marketplaces like TikTok Shop and Walmart. So that is a big reason, why this tool is important is because if you're 90+% of your sales are coming from Amazon alone, especially with the new fee increases, then I would highly look at and suggest that getting on a different marketplace because to have all your eggs in one basket, when Amazon has shown to just continually increase fees, that's at a certain point your product could be or your business could be unviable based on the the fee structure of different categories. The other thing that we will have is image templates. So you'll be able to create, A+ content or rich media for Walmart or infographics, as well as like AI image generation and things like that. So that's coming down the pipeline pretty soon. And I'll show you this this is a thing that I'm really excited about, the listing draft. And then obviously later on down the road, order management. So syncing through your seed inventory, like if a TikTok order comes in, it'll send out an Amazon MCF order and so on. So I want to show the tool real quick and show you some of the things that we'll be able to do. So this is that rifle sling that I was showing you. And then this is where you will put your product information in and your keywords. And this is your chatbot here. So if you wanted to ask it a question, you can do that or minimize them out of the way. And this is where you upload your media. And so you can put whatever images you want on here. And you can also, we do have an image editing tool in here. So if you wanted to crop something or add some frames or text to the image, you can do that as well.
So what types of images are we uploading here? These are just basic unedited images of the product, right? Or are these infographics and probably
you're going to want to upload all your image stack here. So your infographics, lifestyle images, all that. And in theory, this is where you'd want to put everything actually. So this is the backend storage aspect. So imagine this is your Google Drive. And eventually we're going to be able to add folders here where you can store kind of organize things better. But the reason I'll show you why it's important. So you'll upload everything here and save it, because you could also add marketplace specific listing images there. So if I wanted to go into my Amazon listing, this is how the listing will get generated. And you can regenerate the content here, and it will show you the keywords that you've inputted before. It also notifies you. So I put in here money back guarantee as an example, because a lot of sellers, one of the reasons we're building this tool is with the years of agency experience in the background. So there's a lot of keywords that people use that are actually not allowed on Amazon or can get your listing shut down. And so we'll notify you if there's any of these keywords that are restricted, like for example, like antimicrobial or different keywords that will generate the kind of pesticide issue on Amazon. So that will show up as a warning, because there are some cases where some of these keywords can be used if you have documentation. So we don't restrict anyone from listing if you want to use that keyword. We just say, hey, avoid using this word. Amazon doesn't like when you say guarantee. And then it will generate your description and search terms. And like I said, you can regenerate these individually, or you can do all of them at once. But Megla, this is where you'll choose from your database what image you want to put where. So if I wanted to do this as my main image, I just swap it out. And then if I wanted to, rearrange the image stack, I could do that. And then from here, you'll just, input your different attributes. So there are some required attributes that you have to have set in order to, publish to Amazon. And if you're editing an existing image or existing listing on Amazon, it will pull the attributes you have already. Otherwise, you'll need to fill in some of those required attributes. And we will tell you when you publish if there's any publishing errors so that you can go back and troubleshoot to get it to publish.
So what you've done over here is that you've just written these basic features and then the entire listing, like all of these bullet points and everything was generated by the tool. Is that correct? Am I understanding it correctly?
Yeah, exactly. And if I wanted to regenerate some of these things, I could do that. So the other thing to keep in mind is that, our output of listings is based on working with, dozens upon dozens of agencies and SEO best practices, but everyone will have like their own do's and don'ts about SEO. So, this is the template that we have basically used that is Amazon compliant, while also trying to maximize, keywords. So we don't use all caps, for example, in our bullets callouts, but if you wanted to adjust that, you could just come in here and you could do that and then save it. So you can make it your own, you can adjust it. The idea here is that it's giving you the foundation of how the listing should be set up for you to then, sprinkle things on top if you wish. I don't know if you guys saw this on LinkedIn making its way around, but there was a seller who had listings that had the AI, OpenAI like service warning in it.
Yeah.
And so people were just blindly copy pasting. Yeah. They were just blindly copy pasting to Amazon. So, AI is great, guys, but please don't just blindly, copy paste, to Amazon. So this is an example of so once you upload your image stack here too, this is how the catalog will be organized, and you can archive, certain things, and soon we're releasing the variations of the listings will be organized based on parent-child relationship, but you can archive certain listings if you don't want them on here. This is, I'm going to Gary Huang's, Amazon Japan conference. And so I'll show you, I'm about to launch my brand in Japan. So I'll show you on this MoneyClip wallet, the Japanese setup. So this is a listing.
And so this translation has been done by the tool, or is it, has a human done this translation?
No, it's done by the tool. And we're also working on a service layer on top of, because a big focus for us will be Amazon Europe, especially when it comes to Spanish and Italian and different languages, as well as even marketplaces like Japan. So we're working on a feature where you could, pay, $10 extra and have a real Japanese human check it to okay it. Because obviously AI translations are really good now, but they're not perfect. And so that will be an important thing to focus on. But as of now, you can do the base translation. So what I did was I uploaded, or I asked Winston for 20 keywords in Japanese about a money clip. And it gave me the translation with it. So I understood like which one was which. And then I put that into my, my product features, and then, generated the listing. And like I said, if you want to regenerate something, you can, and it will publish that. And then you pick your images and you can publish to the Japanese marketplace as well. And
so the keywords that Winston is like we're talking to a person, suggests, are those from Amazon Japan? Is that where it's getting the
No, so
keywords
that,
from?
yeah,
Or
like this is basically just based on Google Trend data. So it's not, we're not trying to become the next Amazon software. We built this tool in mind knowing that most Amazon native sellers are using a software tool already. And so they can just copy paste their keyword research into the features or the keyword section.
got it.
So if you wanted to add keywords or replace keywords, you could just copy paste here from your different tools. So it's just, I use this a lot to try to find long tail ideas. You can always go check them on Helium 10 or some other software. But it is helpful sometimes to get, different ideas, especially if you wanted to do like alt text for A+ content or different things. Sometimes you run out of keywords. And so this can be a helpful tool to come up with some ideas there.
Mark, sorry, you were muted. You were saying something.
Yeah, that's right. No, so you don't, if you've got a US listing already, you don't just give it that listing and say translate it then. So you really let it go and find the Japanese way. Is that correct?
You can do either, honestly. So you could put your information in here and it can convert it, or you can start with Google Translate or whatever you want to do. But yeah, it'll translate your existing English content into Japanese.
But then the keywords may be different in Japan, might they not? Like, I'm assuming that it's not always. Yeah, it's probably better to do it the way you did that than just.
Well, yeah, and even if you copy paste your basic features in here, then you change the keywords, that will help. And so that will embed in it, because even think about Amazon UK, right? Like some of the spellings in the British English is different than Amazon US. So you would want to make sure that you have different keywords put in there. And that's something that's going to be released soon. Is inside the listing itself, we'll have the keyword box. And so you can edit and customize from the listing. So there's a lot of UI changes that are going to come when it comes to this stuff here. And then, this is one of a tea company we work with. This is their Walmart listing here. So you can see the way that the content is presented is different than Amazon. You've got your short and long description. And then same thing goes when it comes to the category attributes, all that good stuff. And then you can, publish to Walmart. It's actually funny, the publishing to Walmart is a lot more efficient and effective than Amazon. But once you set your, product category and fill in the attributes, everything should be synced. And like I said, it notifies you if there is an error in publishing. But yeah,
so
in the future,
it supports Amazon and Walmart, right?
Exactly, and it supports the different Amazon marketplaces, different countries. And like I said, Etsy and several others, eBay, Fair, those are going to be next. So you'll be able to connect to those different marketplaces too. So, and that's what we're, hoping is, through working with, different brands, that we can even build tools for those beta users themselves. So that's kind of the incentive of getting on. Oh, yeah, I totally forgot to talk about that. But one of the really cool things that I'm excited about is the idea that you could build a seasonal listing in List Butler. So imagine a Christmas specific listing, and you have it here as an Amazon US draft listing that's not published. And so when November 1st rolls around, you simply toggle between the two listings. So you publish the Christmas one, and as soon as Christmas is over, you go back to the other listing and publish the evergreen listing. And so you can have Christmas specific images, Christmas SEO. A lot of people do this, but it's super, super time consuming. And then the problem is, doing this on a scale with, over 100 or even 1,000 SKUs, it's just unthinkable. So that's one of the things that I'm excited about, to be able to kind of tailor to seasons. And it's saved in List Butler. So once it's created, there is going to be a lot of front end work to get everything set up properly and create specific images. But once it's created, it's there. And then you can syndicate that to the different marketplaces as well.
So
Yeah, certainly a lot of.
when writing the text, sorry, Kevin, go ahead.
I was just going to say, it's certainly a lot of time savings, that are in there, and I
Mhm.
sort of love the idea that, and I know it's just to start the way you started with the Japanese language, but to go into other languages where you can do that. I mean, that's going to be a saving for people too in the long run. When it comes to, especially in Europe, France, Germany, Italy, or there's many languages that Amazon now have. Portuguese with
Yeah.
Portugal plus Brazil. So I
And
mean,
even thinking about using NARF, North America Remote Fulfillment, I mean,
yeah,
you don't even have to send product to a different country, but you have Mexico and Canada right above you.
hmm
But imagine like Canadian English or even French is
yeah,
different than American English, and then you have Spanish, obviously.
yeah,
So yeah, I do think that that's important. So yeah,
yeah. No, that's good.
Very cool.
Yeah.
And then
and
for the text that is generated, yeah, for the text, okay, go ahead, talk about this, and then we'll get into questions.
well, sorry, I just wanted to share we're offering a 50% off for a year discount for the India sourcing network. So if you scan this QR code or if you email me, we're essentially still in what I'm calling beta 2.0. We're still have a long way to go, and so we're getting brands in early for a steep discount, and you'll get early access to those features and be able to request certain things that are maybe specific to your brand that we can look at building, as well as feedback groups. So sharing your ideas and bugs or things that are broken on the app that we need to fix. So it's a special offer for your network, just for the having us on and letting us talk about it.
Do you
So
want to
feel free
just
to
show
reach out to me.
you want to just show
Say
the
that
actual
again.
the cost of it again?
Yeah,
Just to
so
clarify.
the software is going to start at $99 for brands that have under 100 SKUs. And then it goes up to $199 for larger brands. And so you'll get 50% off that. So for most people, it's probably going to cost $50 a month for a year with the discount code. And then we also have pricing for agencies. And so a lot of agencies that do at least two marketplaces would be a good tool for them to manage content. Um, yeah, and like I said, we have the pricing, the done for you services built on top. So if any brand needs access to that, you can come email me and we can hop on a call and talk about that.
That's great.
Very cool, very cool. So guys
Yeah.
watching, let us know if you have any questions. This seems like a very time-saving tool for sure. And I also wanted to ask you, so for the text, when it generates the text for the listing, is it 70% there? Is it almost 90% there? And how much do you need to actually tweak the text? Like how much does a human need to tweak the text to take it to 100%?
Yeah, it's a great question. I mean, obviously, it does depend on your inputs before, so your features, because if you don't tell it the features of the product, obviously it's going to guess at what the size is or what the material is. So the more features and input you give it in the beginning, the better the output. And I've had listings generated with List Butler that basically were 99%. There might have been one small thing that I changed. I've had listings generated that were more like 60, 70%. So it does kind of depend on the product and the inputs. But I never want to be one of those guys that sits here and like, yeah, it's perfect every time, right? It's going to depend, but it does get it really close. But I would say also on your question is a little nuanced because it does also depend on how you want your content. So if you want all cap bullet points, like we're not defaulting to that because it's against Amazon TOS. So obviously if that's your default, then it's going to be an automatic, 80 to 90% because you have to go in and change that portion. Does that make sense, Megala? Like we have it built
Yeah,
for a
yeah.
strategy. So
Hmm.
if that's not your strategy, then you'll have to make some tweaks.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's basically garbage in, garbage out, right? The very old principle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's
Okay.
great.
And is it also looking at existing Amazon listings of the same product to maybe suggest keywords or things that are really working for other listings? Is it doing that as well? Is it analyzing
As of
any other
now,
existing listings or no?
yeah, as of now, we don't have any features like that. We're still about 7 months in, so we're really early on. And so as we look to grow and build our foundational tools, we're going to add a lot of those analytical things. But for now, we're just trying to focus on the basics. But yeah, that's definitely that would be a great feature to add for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
so you're also generating images with this, right?
Yeah, so you can generate AI images with it currently, but it's not, like I said, for brands, that feature is not as useful right now. But soon, probably in the next week or so, we will have a way to copy to Figma to build layouts like premium A+ content, infographics, and things like that. So that feature is going to be released probably in the next couple weeks here.
What about storefront?
Like we have. Yeah. So all those things. So storefront, A+, infographics, we're going to have a section for everything. And we're going to have templates. And in those templates, you can drag and drop, edit, or you can, input a AI generation, lifestyle picture, those types of things. That was a big part of the origin of the tool, was focusing on the optimization. So images and SEO, where I, as a brand owner, without any Photoshop skills, can create a really nice premium A+ layout. Really just with basic product images that I could drop in. That's kind of the vision of where we're headed.
Wow. That's a huge time saving and cost. I mean, as we said last night, time is money. So do you know what I mean? If you're spending a couple of days working on your listing and all those things, and you can do that in half an hour probably, and it's it's good, probably better.
Yeah, for sure. Because a lot of sellers do use Canva, but you're kind of starting from scratch. So our templates make it a little bit faster in terms of just plugging in and dropping.
Yeah.
What were you going to say, Megla?
I was just going to ask, have you done any A/B tests with maybe listings that have been generated by like a human, like normal listings, compared to List Butler listings, and if they're better? I'm sure they are, because it's more comprehensive, and it would be interesting to do some A/B testing to see which version does better in terms of sales and conversions, and
Yeah, no, we do have some internal tests. We're going to be publishing some A/B tests soon on LinkedIn. We have had the majority of the results, do perform better. There are going to be cases where, the existing listing SEO was better for different reasons. But we're going to be posting a few different case studies. I always like to show the devil's advocate side of it too. Of like, I don't think it's realistic to say that, every single case study is going to be a victory, but we do have some good ones that we're going to be sharing soon.
Yeah, that's an added benefit, of course. You're saving time, money, and you're getting better, sales and conversions. So that is maximum utilization of AI.
And I must say, Aaron, how wonderful it is from the first time we ever met in Delhi all those years ago, how far you've come.
Well, Kevin, with your guidance, as my mentor, my guru, I've come all this way.
I knew all those little tips would come to something.
Our daily calls have finally started to show the fruit.
It's really good.
Yeah, you guys have always been there for me since day one.
Great answer.
So it's been almost 9 years since you moved to India. Wow.
Yeah, I started out as a humble sourcing agent, and would never go back there. But it has been a journey, to where we are now. So yeah, a lot of irons in the fire, but definitely some exciting things happening. It's my first time into software, so it's been a fun learning experience for me.
That's fantastic.
So how does this change, how we currently do e-commerce and Amazon FBA, like with all the agencies around? Like, is this going to affect your agency business, for example? Because if people can just generate their listings themselves, I mean, I know there is a DFY element and everything, but in sort of the medium to long term, how will this change things?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. I mean, there are going to be tools that pop up anyway. And so it will change, I would say. But I think most of the brands who go to the DIY route are not going to be your typical agency clients anyway. But I think for us, like, this is a tech stack of our agency now. So we're signing a lot of brands who are not native, Amazon sellers, who are on Amazon or maybe Etsy or eBay or whatever. And we're doing the DFY for them. So we're building the tool for them and showing them how it works, so that they can, also use it themselves. But it will, in theory, replace some things. And that, part of when the AI revolution was popping out with ChatGPT, that's when this idea was kickstarted, because, you have to adapt with the times, right? Like, if you just rely on what worked yesterday, it's not going to necessarily work tomorrow. So I think for us, we're trying to kind of get the best of both worlds of servicing the DIY person while also being available for the brands who don't want to deal with e-com or Amazon. Some of our clients for List Butler hate Amazon with an absolute passion, and so we do it for them. So yeah.
It's really only the beginning with AI.
Well, like I said, I think a really key point, I probably didn't do a good job emphasizing this, but 25% of my sales roughly come from non-Amazon platforms now. For 6 or 7 years, that would have been like mind-blowing. Like, typically 95 to 99% Amazon. So with the recent fee hikes, and I'll tell you, these stupid shipment placement fees, it's so annoying. It's like an illusion where they say 5 FCs is free, because it's never going to be cheaper to ship to 5 FCs than it is to ship to 1. So you're just essentially paying several $100s extra automatically to ship to Amazon. So if you're not looking at, and I don't know what's going to happen with TikTok Shop, but like my own brand, we do on average about, like, one of my brands does about 80,000 a month annually on an average basis. On TikTok Shop, the first month we did 10,000, all from UGC creators. And so that shows you the power of, like, why you need to be there. But the problem that I always had, especially with like a marketplace like Etsy, is the juice worth the squeeze? To spend all this time to set up your listings on a marketplace that might only represent 5% of your sales, for most people is not worth it. And I just talked to a large seller last night with 1,000 SKUs who tells me they create listings all the time. And so they'll create 50 Amazon listings and go, oh crap, I forgot to put these on Etsy. So then someone has to go copy paste everything to Etsy. And so it's a lot when you think about different marketplaces. So that was, why we are creating this tool.
And I think overall, most Amazon people you talk to now, they're just sort of getting fed up with how difficult, the hurdles, it's one hurdle after another hurdle, instead of, if they let us run free, we'd make Amazon triple the money. But there's so many obstacles in the way that obstructs us from sometimes making it an honest dollar,
Yeah.
And I mean, you're constantly changing everything. It's not just the fees. I mean, the PPC, every time you open it up, they've got some new thing or another way of doing things they want you to do. There's always some other thing that I think they've added to the mix to make it more, harder, especially for people starting out to get their head around. Mm-hmm. You just go, wow, it used to be so easy 7-8 years ago. Now it's, got out of control, I think, with everything they do.
Mm. And so for the likes of the tools, like your tool even, Aaron, I think for the likes of Amazon especially, you're going to need tools to be able to exist, because to be that much BS that you're going to have to go through, that you wouldn't have the hours in the day to do it. So you need a tool like yours to be able to quickly navigate through the waterways, so to speak.
But I mean, if you're paying VAs or something now to do all this work, and you can put your program in, it's going to subsidise the profit that you're losing to the shipping and all those other, all their other costs of, hopefully it'll balance out.
There's always more ways to see the cat, so to speak, isn't it?
And even so for us too, it's like the idea of, for me, I'm a big believer that AI helps people be more efficient, not necessarily that we're going to replace all the jobs, right? So even if you have 2 content writers or 2 designers, maybe you hire one and put them in List Butler to create this stuff. So that's kind of the idea too, is that it's also a workspace, almost like an Asana or ClickUp board, where you can add your organization and they can also work within the platform, to get things done and work more efficiently. So that's also how we're using it on the agency side, is almost like a project management tool as well. So
that's good. No, I think it's got a good
Very
cost save.
cool. Yeah, definitely. I think in the long run, people will have to use such a tool. I don't think, and people who don't might, miss out. So obviously, people who start using tools like this to improve their efficiency and to make better listings are going to have an advantage over others who don't. So yeah, I think you're definitely on the right track, and this is going to be a major, it's going to be an essential tool basically for everybody moving forward. So congratulations.
We'll invite you. We'll invite you back when this is gone. When this is runs on automatically, Aaron.
Yeah, I mean, we have a lot of features.
You'd be able to thank me again for being such a good, mentor to you.
Yeah, I mean, Kevin, we've got 99% equity reserved for you as a mentor partner. So I'll send the documents over to you to sign. So.
Thank you. I'll sign them. Problem whatsoever.
We'll retire on the beach in Vietnam, hopefully early. So.
Leave me there like a shipwreck.
What was that?
I said, you'll just leave me on the beach like a shipwreck.
Oh, Kevin, come on. I would never do that.
You wouldn't? No,
oh, gosh, this is fun.
I feel the love. Awesome.
Cool. Well, guys, quick reminder that we are offering 50% off the tool for a full year. So if you use the code ISN50, and you can check the link in the comment section wherever you're watching, Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, and click on the link. It will automatically take you to the page. Sign up, use the code ISN50 for 50% discount. It costs just less than $50 per month and saves you so much time and money and effort. It's going to be a game changer, I truly feel, for a lot of businesses. So be an early adopter and stay ahead of your competition by using List Butler. Aaron, thank you so much for joining us today. It's always a pleasure catching up with you. And, hopefully we can meet again soon.
We'll see you in India.
Likewise.
Not before.
Absolutely. I got it saved on my calendar. So thanks for having me on.
No
appreciate
problem,
it.
man. Good to see you. Safe travels to Japan, man.
Yeah.
And you.
All right. Thanks.
And wherever else.
And guys watching, thanks a lot for joining us today. So we'll be back with another MMK show next week. Have a great weekend, everyone.